Hello and welcome to the BuiltOnAir podcast. BuiltOnAir is a regular podcast where we talk with everyday people and learn about the amazing things they are doing with Airtable. Today's podcast is sponsored by OpenSide, the leading solutions provider for Airtable customers. Check out openside.com to learn more about their products and services that can take your Airtable usage to the next level. Use promo code BuiltOnAir to receive $20 towards any product purchase.
In this episode, we're joined by Christine Prefontaine, the co-founder of Loup Design Innovation and co-inventor of Story Engine. Loup is a consultancy with a mission to help private sector and nonprofit firms alike better serve their clients through human-centered design, which places an emphasis on open communication and frequent reflective learning. In order to help her own clients reach their goals of becoming stronger teams, Christine began using Airtable to keep her own team on track. We briefly go over 2 articles written by Loup team members which discuss their strategies for project and asset management with Airtable as the CRM. Christine walks us through their CRM base, which allows the team to group tasks and subtasks together from all phases of a project, from ideation to completion. Later, Christine shares how her team was able to use an Airtable base with just one table to track interviewees across the run of a community outreach project or a recruitment process. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to join you.
So I read those 2 articles about your company and how you guys use Airtable for project management. I was wondering if you could just talk with me a little bit about that.
Sure. So my company is called Loup Design and Innovation, Loup.design. And we are essentially a consulting firm that is based on human-centered design. And we do a lot of very mission-driven work. Part of what we do is help teams work better together. And we're always trying to work better together. And that's how we came to, use Airtable.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of teams do you consult for?
So we work across a number of sectors, some private sector, small businesses. Again, we tend to pick companies that we can have a good partnership with so that there's some alignment in terms of values and vision. We've done work with the World Bank Group, specifically with the International Finance Corporation. We've led their human-centered design efforts to create innovative insurance products for women in Nigeria, in India, in Cameroon, in the Philippines. And we didn't do Ghana, but we were involved in recruiting for that. So helping to work through both the design research and then taking AJ and Smart, which is they're a firm in Europe that took the Google design sprint by Jake Knapp and kind of took that to the next level. And then we helped adapt it for the International Finance Corporation. So, creating systems and then doing all the facilitation. That's like one example. We work with nonprofits. We work with foundations, and currently we're managing. We're the project team for a $100 million grant fund to change the business model of the web. So that's called Grant for the Web. So we have a pretty varied customer base, and that. The sort of empathy first, listening first informs all of our work, and we're just able to apply that generally to teams wanting to make things and get things done.
Wow. Okay. With such a varied typology of clients that you serve, I'm wondering, project management differs. I mean, approaches differ by sector a lot, and even by the work that the client does themselves. But I'm thinking, what do you see as major differences between a nonprofit and some of the other types of people you serve?
Well, to be clear, we don't organize project management systems for all of those different types of clients. We're generally doing the consulting work with them. At times, we are hired to look at systems and to help do that. We do a lot of modeling, though. So it's sort of always like a part of the DNA. If we work with an organization, we have very specific work practices that we like to share. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know that there's just sort of teams in various states of evolution and readiness to adopt new practices, I would say, and to work in a way that incorporates some reflection and learning, which is, our approach. We work with a heartbeat approach, and which includes like a weekly meeting that we very heavily rely on our Airtable customization for that, our base. And then every second week that is complemented by a learning retrospective where we go through, what went well, what didn't go well, and, what were like our kind of transition points or times we adapted something, and so what do we have to do with that? I would say our orientation is taken from a very lightweight, we call it agile for humans. So like so definitely all of us on the Loup team, we worked for Mozilla Foundation at some point and we have that sort of combo of social justice and techie. So the techie sort of practices definitely inform our work.
So if it's like a weekly meeting, I imagine you would want something that isn't necessarily something so cluttered. Is that maybe why you chose Airtable? Something a little bit more freeform?
I mean, I chose Airtable for a number of reasons, but yeah, we wanted something that was not too cluttered, and we fooled around with different ways to do that, and that was customizable and also connected. So one of the things that I was having trouble with is we had different systems, and we had Pipedrive, which was like our CRM and sort of like what was coming, our business development platform. And then we had Trello. I fooled around with Basecamp. I fooled around with like a bunch of different systems. We were using Trello. I didn't like it as much as my team, and I know there's people who really love Trello. What I liked about Airtable is that ability to really look at your data, to work with your data, to make it, to connect it, and in a way that I could really see it, and create all these different views. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I went off track there.
Oh no, of course not. So when you say data, I wonder, do you deal with more qualitative data or quantitative data?
So when I say data, I'm very influenced by a nonprofit in the Bay Area called Aspiration Technology, and Alan Gunn, who's the executive director there, has been a great mentor to me and to others on my team. And so the kind of idea that I got from Gunnar is like that, your organization is like a container for your data, which is like the people you serve and, all of the kind of the pieces of information that you collect in the course of your interactions. So that could be very like CRM looking stuff, but when you work, part of our work is a very communications focused. So, we even have things like, where's their logo files? What are their top images? What fonts are they using? What is the licensing on all of that? Because we have to be able, for example, when we have a product called Story Engine that we use to do research, and we collect, people's stories, their names, their photo, a whole bunch of different things like that. So what I liked about Airtable is that, first of all, it has a way to import stuff, a way to export stuff, which is like the first thing I look at is after I put all of my data in your system, where's the exit? Mm-hmm. Because I will probably break up with you at some point. And that's like a very gun of things. Like, you are going to break up with this tech. Mm-hmm. And so, manage the divorce. Like, what does that prenup look like? And manage a divorce from the beginning. And make sure that you can flow from one system to another as new systems emerge, as things adapt, and that so you have a handle. So I would say that, like, it's not, I'm not thinking about the data in terms of like qualitative or quantitative, in terms of like, how we collect research findings or data, but it's just like really how we organize. I'm sure you hear people talk about this a lot, as like Airtable bringing some like cohesion and organization to all of the different bits and pieces that make the organization run, whether that's being able to see, okay, we've got like, 100,000 in the pipeline, and our goal is to, reach 300,000. And so therefore we need to do this, whether it's like something like that, or whether it's like, I need a picture stat that's of this, that's related to this project, and that has like this Creative Commons license on it.
Right. I think it's so funny that you say that you have to be prepared to divorce your tech, because it's true. It's very rarely are you going to find one piece of tech or one app that's going to solve all your problems forever. Mm-hmm. And it kind of fits into this larger discussion of how people use Airtable as maybe a stepping stone to building an even more custom CRM or web app themselves, and using Airtable as maybe like a back end. Do you have any kind of idea of where you want to take what you've done now? Is there like any lofty goals for the future?
No, I don't. I'm actually really happy with Airtable as it works. I mean, I guess I could see at some point like potentially like a sexier user interface. I've had to sort of hack things, as many people have. And when in the second part of this, when I give you the example, I'll show you what I mean by that. Mm-hmm. Like specifically, we wanted to have a ticket with subtasks. Yeah. Which wasn't something like Airtable really allowed. So, but that is like so not the thing holding us back. There's your tech, and then there are your practices. Yeah. And often things are breaking, not in your tech piece, but in your practices. Yeah. And I would say that's like very true for like a CRM. Mm-hmm. In the end, you still got to document those interactions and fill out the forms. If you don't fill out the forms, which is a really annoying thing to do, that information won't be there for others on your team to see, oh, you spoke to this person. Mm-hmm. So I don't, I could see people thinking about Airtable that way. We are just happy with it and doing the work. Mm-hmm.
I think there's tremendous value in setting up something like this, your Airtable base yourself, because it does force you to think about, what do I actually do in my day-to-day? How do I actually accomplish my job? And what tasks do I need to do in order to, collect data on what it is that I do? And if you're setting something up like the Airtable base you'll show with us, you have to think about what, like you said, the actual process of filling out the form. And because you work with a team, you have to think about, well, how does Jim do his work? How does Sally do hers? And trying to find a good middleman between them.
Yeah, and that also makes me. We're about to introduce Airtable to a new client, mm-hmm. and introduce some new systems to them, and we'll be using a human-centered design approach to do that, to get everyone together to be like, well, what do you want from the system, and what do you know about the flow of your work? Because also it's one thing, like to come up and be like, oh, I have this tool, but it's another to get everyone to use it. And to have some ownership and agency over it. I actually introduced Airtable to my team in a really bad way because I got super obsessed with it. And I don't know, my brain sort of, it's the weirdest thing because I'm super artsy, but when it comes to like databases and making connections between things, I just go straight into the zone. So I was like, oh, I'm doing this and doing that. And I was like, stayed up all night and I was really excited. And my team was like, whoa, like, what did you just do? So I had to like take a few steps back and like apologize. And like, I didn't do like the best social introduction.
Oh, I'm sure it went
not the way
fine.
we would work with our clients, but I'm like, I was just like, yeah, I was like, I felt like, oh, this is the thing I had been looking for.
But sometimes it is kind of hard to explain just how great something is if you're not familiar with how like databases work and stuff. I can see that.
I have no training on any of that stuff, and you know, finally when we got into it, my team like really loved it, and now like they'll go do stuff without me. But yeah, it was definitely not an example of us working the way we like to work with our clients. I had to do a better job of turning the empathy inward.
Well, do you want to take a look at your base?
Sure. This is what we call our planning and pipeline base. It's a scrubbed one because it would have all of our information in it.
Sure.
And so I'll go through it. This is just all of the, this view is all fields, no filters, just so you can see sort of what it looks like at its core. So we have the project, which is, and then the ticket, and then task is in that ticket. And so this was a way for us to be able to have nested kind of to-do lists.
Okay.
So I will show you, this is current projects and tasks. So here you would have project 1, project 2. So basically it just allows you to go through. So these are like the key tickets, these main things here, but then you can just go through and, you know, move these around. We have different levels of priority. We have, you know, where it is, and we do document like when we decide to kill a particular task or if it's blocked. We have like a fun thing too where this X is like, okay, is it done? And we will have a fun thing where with our blocks, where like if we do a task, like a little chime will come on, and yay, we did it. I don't have the time down right now, but so as you saw when I checked that particular task off, it disappeared from the current view, but it would I still have a view, all projects, all tickets, where you can go back historically and see tickets. And so this is like a pretty standard view based on like who the lead is. You know, you can have like a Kanban view. I just sort of fill that out so that I could go in and be like, okay, where am I? So this was sort of, you know, a little bit more like Trello-like, or that sort of, you know, agile board type, you know, done, that type of structure. And so, you know, I have it set up like you could have just like a view with all of project 1 or all of project 2, or the Kanban for each of the individual people. And then, you know, we encourage the folks on our team and now our clients to like have a view that is customized to them. So that is basically it. Now where this, so it's not like, you know, super fancy, you know, when does it start? When does it end? You know, what attachments? I think what is interesting about this is that the CRM is integrated. And so we have a way to track opportunities. And then once they become a real project, all that the tickets and everything are still linked to that.
Okay,
so
great.
the project management system and the to-do is sort of linked to the CRM. And with that, you know, we have like by stage, or here, like this would be where, you know, this is a way of like easily accessing all of our contracts, because the actual contract itself would be attached to the opportunity once it's in the one stage. And so here, you know, is just like, again, a different view. Where are we? Okay, we're writing the proposal. What percentage, you know, do we think that we're going to win this? So it allows us to do financial projections. And then connected with that, I have something called interactions, contacts, and organizations. So basically, when someone meets, I have like a form view. When someone meets someone, you know, they can put in information about that. And then when they have an interaction with that person, you know, it's like, was it an email? Was it a call or a video? Was it like a brain date where you just like go, you know, meet somewhere and geek out on something?
I've never heard that term before, and it's excellent.
That comes from E11, which is a great learning organization in Montreal. I'm from Montreal. So they have this whole brain dates that they do at conferences, and they're amazing. You should check them out. And so these sort of quick and easy forms feed into, like that information would feed into here. And likewise, the contacts are connected with the organizations, and then that can be connected to the opportunity. So in this example here, you know, so if opportunity one was in the idea stage, you know, you can see that the main contact is like Jane Doe, but then, you know, there was this brain date here with new person, very good name. And, you know, where I can see, okay, like I'm dealing with Jane, but like I talked to this other person from, you know, Acme Services, and like it allows everything to be connected together.
Right.
And I'm not like, I don't have to be in like a whole bunch of different pieces of software. This is like living in where our tickets and our planning and where my to-do list is. And so again, that's just because you just want to like keep it simple. And so for a small boutique consulting firm, like this is enough tech for us.
Yeah.
We don't need something more sophisticated than this. And the issue or the challenge more than anything is just like documenting those interactions, which, you know, to be honest, like sometimes I'm like, I didn't document this, or I didn't, you know, like that. And that's just like part of having the routines and rhythms of the day. And I can show you a few other ways we use Airtable, but did you have any questions about this?
Well, it's more of a comment. I just feel like what we're seeing right now is a good way or a good alternative to have nesting tasks or nesting items in general. I know that's one of the big features that many people look to Airtable to do, and it's not quite as intuitive as it could be, but this is like an excellent way to just do it.
We're happy with this hack. I mean, basically, it is this, if like all fields, no filters, it's basically these things that are like projects here are actually our key sort of tickets. And then when they get filtered out and grouped, they become the tickets there, and then we can have the subtasks.
Right.
It worked really well for us. And I haven't yet shared a base, but like this is all ready to go and scrubbed, and other people can fool around with it. But yeah, we definitely saw that it was definitely an issue at the beginning, but we really worked through it. This works fine for us.
And it allows you to reuse, I imagine, for each new project that you have. I mean, you're going to do finances probably for all of them, or community and outreach for all of them. And this is, you know, a great way to reuse pieces but customize it for each of the projects that you do.
Exactly. So here are some of the other ways that we've used Airtable. These are just screenshots. So this is in French because it was in work we did in Cameroon.
Okay.
Where for the design sprint where we were developing innovative insurance products for women, we on day 4 of our design sprint, we bring in actual testers, actual people to interact with the prototypes that the teams have created.
Okay.
And so this was a way that I managed all of the form that women filled out, which is really challenging because market research was not really part of the culture. In like here we're like very used to it, but there people are like there's so many like online scams and things like that. People were very méfiant is the word in French. They were really not trustworthy. Not trusting, no, they were trustworthy. They were not trusting that we were trustworthy, and we're like, what is this scam? And it was very fun to see the transformation between like, are you scamming me? To, oh my God, you care about my opinion and about my small business and my side hustle. And that's amazing. And like just that was, a side note, that was really great. So basically this was a forum where, a Facebook ad led to this form that the different women could fill out. And then, we wanted to talk to women who had a side hustle and, a lot of women in Cameroon, they really have to have several things on the go to make ends meet. I don't know how they do it. So there's a lot. And our insurance solution was sort of targeting that. So we really wanted to look at those folks. And then the participants that we selected to speak to, we had like a contact card, and I was able to have an interview schedule, all sort of with the same data based on what the women put in themselves. So this was really useful as I was also, because we had 2 teams doing testing. So I had to like greet the women when they showed up, make sure they were okay, direct them to the right place, and share this base with others so they could see, okay, who's coming when and what does that look like? Because we wanted the experience of the testers when they came to the insurance company main headquarters. We wanted that experience to be awesome for them and for them to be well received.
And this is all done in one table, it looks like, with just different views?
Yeah, these are all different views. And so, it's just, once the women submitted, their name and, a few pieces of information about themselves, then I was able to, I had extra fields that I then added on to, adding in things like when they were going to come in, did I confirm with them through, I had, everything's through WhatsApp there. So did I confirm through WhatsApp? What's their WhatsApp number? All of that. So it worked really well. And we were able to create like a decent enough form and had a really great experience. And the product has since been launched in the Cameroonian market. So, this is Loop's communications database. So this potentially could be integrated with the planning and pipeline one. We separated it out because sometimes we wanted to invite partners to this base, and we didn't necessarily want to be sharing all of our internal business information. But for a very small org, these could definitely be all together with the advantage that you would have the contacts in the organizations. Like that's another, big feature is being able to go for Airtable, being able to go call on information in a different base.
Yeah.
So that, we kind of ran into that wall, but it's been fine. So this is just, we have like a social tracker, the images and graphics, a style guide, all logos, our colors and fonts, canonical descriptions of things, descriptions of our team, and a place where we keep our client brand assets. And again, this is just to avoid that, like, where did we have this file of the, so you're not like searching through some bad filing nomenclature in a shared Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever. So this is like our card view of, some of the image assets we have. So these are people who are featured on our storyengine.io website. And so, it'll just be like the person, what organization. If you click on a card, so this is like a picture of a workshop from Cameroon. You can see, this is my colleague Esther with the stickies. We have like the file nomenclature, we have the license, who made it. And then this is just like what our social tracker looks like, so that we can track. And this was just like, we could track like what we've communicated about. And again, this is just customized from existing templates out there in our table. Nothing too fancy there. And then this is just, our style guide so that everyone on our team theoretically can be writing internet the same way, or, using double spaces or not, or hyphens in it. Just like it's an editorial style guide.
Yeah.
So we just have all that in one place. So these are just a few other examples of how we've used Airtable. We really love having the communications database, and then we've used this sort of applicant things for our own recruiting, and then also for recruiting user testers.
Yeah. It's always great to see a one table base, because all of the stuff I do when I help people make bases, they end up being fairly complicated. There's 10 tables all of a sudden, and 3 of them are junction tables, and it's just nice to see, an application where you just need the one and it works great.
Yeah, this is just a really simple thing, find testers and schedule them. So that you can make sure that they have a good experience.
Well, thank you so much for sharing both of these with us.
You're welcome.
Is there anything you'd like to plug? We can put those 2 articles on medium.com in the description.
I will figure out how to make this base more widely available, the template one that I have. I just genericized it. So
there's the Airtable universe. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it allows you to publish a base that other people can then use as a template.
Oh, that's what I need to do. So this is ready to go on there. And I really like the tool, and I love what you guys are doing with the community building and the podcast. It's really it's really nice to see the kind of social community building done well. So congrats.
Thank you. We certainly try.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Camille. Nice chatting.
No problem. Nice chatting with you.
All right. Bye.